A top Saudi source told Reuters oil production would be back online within 2 to 3 weeks instead of months as first suggested. At a press conference on Tuesday, the Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman Saudi Aramco and the company's CEO were united in a message to reassure the market that Saudi oil is available.
Over the last 2 days, the damage has been contained, and more than half of the production capabilities that were damaged as a result of the attack have been recovered. The company will meet its commitments to its customers for this month by withdrawing its reserves of crude oil.
This is the first public statement on oil production given since a weekend attack on key Saudi facilities crippled more than half of Saudi oil production in the largest single supply disruption in half a century. With supply concerns easing, global oil prices dropped about $4 or roughly 6% Tuesday, but prices remain elevated. Investors worry the attack on the Saudi facilities could set off a chain of events that sparks a confrontation between the region's two largest enemies, Saudi Arabia and Iran, and drags in Saudi ally, the United States. Saudi King Mohammed bin Salman called on the world's governments to confront threats to global oil supplies. On Tuesday, United States Vice President Mike Pence weighed in, saying the U.S. was reviewing evidence it believes suggests Iran was behind the attacks and will stand ready to defend its interests and those of its allies in the Middle East. A U.S. official told Reuters on Tuesday that the attacks originated in southwestern Iran. Iran refutes any claims it had anything to do with the attack. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is headed to Saudi Arabia for discussions.
The U.S. on Tuesday laid more blame on Iran for Saturday's devastating attacks on oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. A U.S. official told Reuters that the attack had originated in southwestern Iran, and 3 officials said the attacks involved both cruise missiles and drones. The officials did not provide evidence, but the revelations do indicate a higher degree of complexity and sophistication than initially thought. The attack on the world's biggest crude oil processing plant knocked out half of Saudi Arabia's oil production. Defense Secretary Mark Esper on Tuesday called out Iran during his meeting with Bahrain's Crown Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. Iran has denied it was behind the attacks, which were claimed by Yemen's Houthi rebels in their fight against a Saudi-led coalition. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said on Twitter, "The U.S. is in denial if it thinks that Yemeni victims of 4.5 years of the worst war crimes wouldn't do all to strike back." Zarif adding, "Perhaps it's embarrassed that hundreds of billions of dollars of its arms didn't intercept Yemeni fire." The U.S. has long sold weapons to Saudi Arabia, including munitions used to fight the Houthis in Yemen. The spike in tensions between Iran and the U.S. appears to have derailed any chance of negotiations after President Donald Trump pulled the U.S. out of a multi-party nuclear agreement seeking a better deal. Just last week, Trump had said he would have no problem meeting with his Iranian counterpart, Hassan Rouhani, at the United Nations General Assembly later this month. But Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, on Tuesday said Iran will never hold one-on-one talks with the United States.
Tonight, U.S. intelligence indicates the unprecedented attack on Saudi oil fields originated from Iran. Using a combination of low-altitude cruise missiles and drones to evade radar, 2 U.S. officials tell NBC News. They say the missiles were fired from at least one location in western Iran. Now Secretary of State Pompeo is traveling to Saudi Arabia, which U.S. officials say could retaliate against Iran with U.S. support, but without the U.S. firing a shot. After earlier tweeting he was locked and loaded, President Trump Monday said he wants to avoid military conflict.
I don't want war with anybody.
And the military is also cautioning against striking Iran, though it is revisiting a list of possible targets, including oil facilities or Revolutionary Guard missile launch sites. The intelligence is now being shared with senators.
I think the president needs to act now, and he needs to act with partners
in a fashion so the Iranians will not do this ever again.
If the president starts a war against Iran to protect the Saudis, I will tell you this, we will file a motion immediately to force this to the floor of the Senate and force there to be a vote.
Tonight, Saudi Arabia says it has restored half of its oil production, much faster than expected. So U.S. analysts are now reducing their predictions of a possible 25-cent per gallon rise in gas prices.